Hello. I was thinking earlier today it would be interesting to do a podcast or a video cast like this, but for the people who know me, I could have like an earring with a feather that came down to here, but I never addressed it, It was just like me, feather, opining about the universe, never talking about the feather here. I'm not trying to say that a feather in the ear, or metaphorically in the cap, would be a terrible look. There are people who do it. I'm not one of those people, although, to be fair, I've never tried, so maybe I should try. It's just a thought I had. I also had a thought today, before we get into this. I would like to do a series of Midwestern photographs where it's like I could be this. Let's just say I'm the subject, whatever. In my mind, I'm always the subject. I mean, you're always the subject in your mind, so I don't know why it sounds so egotistical. All of a sudden, I'm the Klaus Kinski of Midwestern photographs. But it could be like me in a chair, like in a recliner like this, with like a newspaper on my lap, just asleep with a Christmas tree behind me. And then another one could be, because we're in Detroit here, this is coming live from Detroit. It could be like a Thanksgiving with like a Lions jersey and just people just sort of looking off into the distance, and you're not sure if they're sort of upset about whatever happened at the game or they ate too much turkey or whatever it is. I don't know, just traditional Midwestern things, whatever it is that Midwesterners, whatever it is that we do. It's just a thought, the thoughts have to be sort of pushed through different grinders. Another Midwestern thing, grinder. Maybe they don't say that outside of the Midwest. I don't know. Grinders? Hoagies? Are those the same things? I think East Coast might be hoagies. It doesn't matter. Welcome to Troy Meets World. I am Troy. You are the world, obviously. Welcome. This is episode 15. Now, this is an episode of Troy Meets World. It's not specifically a movie review, so if you're thinking, it says Troy Meets Ladybird, I think we should get to the film review because, you see, people have a short attention span, Troy. I know. Now that we've got rid of those people, we can talk freely. This is the podcast, and it's not strictly a movie review. People can say, why don't you just get straight to things? That's not the way that I work. I don't work in quick little sound bites. I know that I should. I remember Neil deGrasse Tyson gave an interview. I had a conversation on the Nerdist podcast, if you listen to that, where he's talking about how he got really good at talking to the media and giving sound bites because they love it. They eat it up just all day long, like a bag full of Munchos or Boise's Sun Chips. There we go. I knew I'd find you. And that helped him. So maybe I should get into that. Maybe I should sort of condense these down. Because this is the podcast and it's not necessarily green, it is snowing. Here we are, live from Detroit. If you can't see this if you're listening to this, obviously, but if you're listening to this and you have a phone that you can look at and you can see that there's a massive snowstorm in Detroit. It is December, I think, 13th, 2017. If you're watching this from the future, welcome. Love the snow. Right now, love it. A month from now, I'm going to want to run away. But for right now, I'd say it's pretty good. If you just joined me, I'm just talking about the snow and the snowstorm in Detroit, which you may or may not be able to see out my window. If you can't, if you're in Detroit, why would you look out my window? Just look out your window. So that was good. What a great day. And I'll get to Ladybird in a second. This was the kind of day that I wish that I could have every day. I did everything, including a chocolate chip cookie, if that matters to you. If you're a cookie, I don't know if you're a cookie fan. I consider myself kind of a cookie gangster, a little bit. Not a monster, a gangster. A cookie gangster. I sat in the DIA in the Detroit Institute of Arts today in the cafeteria eating a cookie like a cookie gangster. That's what I did. I had the appropriate amount of marijuana. It was perfect. I saw a lot of great art. I went to the DIA. It's snowing. It's beautiful. If you don't have to drive, if you live down here, I live in downtown Midtown. That's where this is broadcasting from. Just walked around, took the streetcar. By the way, there's a streetcar here in Detroit, if you didn't know that. It's called the Q line. You can look it up if you're not familiar. I think they were going a little fast. are streetcars supposed to be able to stay on the rails in the snow? Because there's a lot of snow out there, and I saw them plowing through. Now, when the streetcar went by, the rails were clean. I don't know. I don't know if they're... I hope everything's okay. I mean, I assume they know what they're doing. Maybe the tracks are heated. But anyway, it was a beautiful day walking around the city. Went to the Namdi Gallery, which is also in Midtown. I don't know why I keep pointing over here. It is over here, technically, but you can't see that if you're listening to this. This live cast gets, the audio gets uploaded to iTunes. So I'm going to say a lot of things that's going to make listeners think, why is he saying things like I'm seeing what he's saying? Well, then you should subscribe to the live cast, youtube.com/Chavezkin. You can also follow me on social media if you want to. I don't know why you would do that. I don't have a ton of followers. At Real Troy Meets World, Instagram, Facebook, and Troy Meets _World on Twitter, because somebody took Troy Meets World and they don't even use it. So if you're using Troy Meets World, just give it up. I mean, what's the point? You haven't done anything since 2014. I think you should. If your account's inactive, I wonder if Twitter will sort of boot you off there. Do you think that would happen? I think that's what it should be. If you're inactive like that for 3 years, I think 3 years is plenty of time. You've clearly done nothing with your account. I don't mean to go off on a rant. I'm not ranting. I just think that I should have it if the other person isn't using it. But I'm not Twitter. That's going to be the title of my autobiography. I'm not Twitter. So yeah, great day. The reason I bring up the day is because I figured I'd push myself and go to see this movie at Cinema Detroit, which is in Midtown, a couple blocks from my house. I'd seen it up there a couple of days. If you haven't seen Lady Bird, I'm probably going to give you a couple of spoilers. I don't like to give spoilers. I may sort of accidentally say something that you may not want to hear. It's a great movie. It's not like the ending is a massive twist. It's not Schindler's List, or I mean, I guess you know how Schindler's List is going to end, but it's not the Kaiser Sose movie. Oh, what is that? Kaiser Sose. I hope people are... I wish I could see the comments on here, but I can't. Maybe if somebody would type one. What's that movie? Kaiser Sose? Is that Usual Suspects? Did I just pull that out of thin air? Whoa. Kind of scaring myself here. Anyway, I walked through the snow, through the storm, through the I wouldn't say it's not a blizzard, but through the big, massive snowstorm to see Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird, and I'll tell you, it was worth every snowflake. By the way, Greta Gerwig. Yeah, I saw her in Greenberg. I liked it. It's kind of a weird movie. What's his name? Ben Stiller's character was a little strange for me. But Frances Ha, all in. And I kept seeing that Lady Bird was a good movie, but I just kept putting it off for some reason. I don't know, stuff to do, I guess. But I went, and it was great. It was great. It was lovely. It was a lovely movie. Two things I'll say, because you can go to other movie review places and get like the in-depth. Well, you see the character development. Like I'm not that smart. I'm just a Troy in Midtown Detroit who has a podcast talking about a movie that he saw. But I'll give you two things that I really liked about it, because I think it says something about the movie overall. And this is going to sound narcissistic, but I think movies or music or whatever, we always take it and apply it to our own lives anyway. So I'm not going to feel terrible by doing that now, because you do it, and I think everybody does it. The best among us are able to maybe observe ourselves from outside, or maybe you can't do that all the time, but maybe you do that as much as you can to give yourself a good sort of footing or structure in your life that makes you not seem like such a narcissist, or strengthens your ability to empathize with other people. So anyway, there were 2 points in the movie, 2 moments. At the beginning, the daughter, the whole movie's kind of about her going away. Should she stay in Sacramento, California, which I think is kind of just representative of all of our hometowns? And do we travel? Do we fly the coop? What do we do? If we're going to go in search of ourselves, what are we searching for? And they're coming back from a college tour where they check out universities and things like that. And they're both listening to the Grapes of Wrath, a really long car ride, obviously. It finishes, and they're both kind of crying. I'm pretty sure it was the Grapes of Wrath. They both are crying. It ends. They don't really say much. And then the daughter, played by, what's her name? Saoirse Ronan. I had to look. I've got it written down over there. She goes to, right after it ends, she's like, oh, it's great. She moves in to put on the radio, right? And the mom's like, whoa, let's let what just happened sort of echo for a while. And the daughter, in her, maybe her youth or whatever, says like, are you serious? Like, let's get some music going. But she's like, no, you don't. The mom says, you don't, played by Laurie Metcalf, you don't have to entertain yourself every second. And I'm thinking, oh, 2002, how I missed the thoughtful 2002 or earlier, where we didn't have to entertain ourselves all the time. Or maybe we did, but we just didn't have those kind of tools. If you're a digital immigrant like me, someone who knew a world before the connection, the big connection, the technological monster that just raised out of the sea and pulled us all into it, then you know those moments. And you can still get them, obviously. You could do that now. You could take a drive and throw your phone in the back seat, or not even take your phone with you. But I thought it was a great moment because the whole movie's kind of about her growing up and trying to figure things out, and what is she looking for. And then you've got the parents who are looking back, maybe vicariously through her a little bit, which I'm sure everybody does who's a parent. I don't have any kids, but I would imagine that there's a part of you that sort of likes to relive things through the people around you who are of a young age. And I just thought it was a great moment, but it went by really quickly. But as soon as I felt that in the first 2 minutes of the film, I really felt like this is going to be a smart film, and it totally is. There was one other time where she was supposed to go to the prom with the second guy that she had fallen for, and he turned out to be kind of an asshole, or was an asshole, kind of the mysterious asshole type. And he agreed to take her to prom, and she was with cool kids, whatever that means, in the car. And the kid's driving, and he's got like a 2002 big cell phone. He picks it up, and he's like, hello? It's like the Flintstones where it tips over, you know? And not that I would know, because I got my first cell phone in 2011, April 2011. Think about that for a while. And he gets a call and is like, yeah, all right, we'll do that. And then he hangs it up and says something like, yeah, we're going to skip prom. We're going to whatever. And the girl, Saoirse Ronan's character, says, okay. And because she's all dressed up, you can tell she really wants to go to the prom. And there's a song on the radio, and he goes, God, I hate this song. And she says in that moment, you know what, I love this song, and I want to fucking go to prom. And the dickhead boyfriend says, I don't. And she goes, well, can you take me to my friend's house, my real friends? And she ditches those guys. And I thought it was such a great moment, because it's one of those things that looking back, I won't speak for the rest of you, obviously, but for myself, think back to those moments where I wish I had said what I wanted to say to someone, or in a moment, not in an asshole way, but just like, you know what, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And there's nothing wrong with what you're going to do, but that's not for me. Have a nice night, have a nice life, whatever it is, I'm out. And I thought that was such a great moment. I don't know that everybody comes to that moment, and she's pretty young to have that arrive at such an early age. I thought it was a great moment, because especially because it came to the end where she reunites with her friend that she had lost touch with because she was pursuing the cool kids. Can't Buy Me Love. She's Kenneth. Her friend Jane is Kenneth, I think. You shit on my house, Kenneth. I don't know. Probably making too many 80s references. I'm showing my age, probably. But those are my two favorite moments. Obviously, that's a great moment, the end, where you sort of feel sad, and you can feel that sense if you've ever left your home or where you grew up. I grew up here in Michigan, and I've been lucky enough to travel around, and I feel like I still have that sense of homelessness in a way. Like once you leave your house, once you leave wherever you grow up, assuming that you don't absolutely hate it, you don't have terrible experiences there, like you're. I'm not trying to make fun, but like let's say you're just almost murdered, or you're bullied, or something terrible happens, and yeah, get the hell out of there if that's what you want to do. But it's like this pull for me that goes back and forth, and I could really feel that in this movie of this thing of, oh, do I want to go out there and live, or do I want to play it safe and stay in my Sacramento, wherever that might be for you or anybody else, or do I spread my wings and fly, and maybe I'll circle back, or all these people that I knew and that loved me and that surrounded me with all this warmth. Am I supposed to stay here and be a part of their lives for forever, or for right now? Or do I go out and try and find this other thing? And she goes off to New York. She's a writer. And I don't, again, I've said this, but I don't think that the cities themselves are important. I think it's the idea of what you think might be out there that is what drives that dilemma for people. So you constantly think about where you are and where you could be. It's a nasty business, the future. When you go too far into the future, or you go too far in the past, then you start to get anxious a little bit. I think it's when you're in the present tense, as Ramos once said, be here now. I like to say be there tomorrow sometimes, because you can't be here now all the time. You've got to think about things in the future, or you think about things in the past, of course, as well. But it's hard to do for me, and I'm sure it's hard for lots of people. But that's somewhere in the movie. All I know is it was a great movie. I'll probably see it again. It's one of those movies that I think is watchable, rewatchable. Some things aren't, Brokeback Mountain, Passion of the Christ. That's weird that I would say those two movies. Why would I say those two movies? But there are movies that I won't really want to watch again. Dunkirk was one of them with Christopher Nolan a couple months ago. It was like 20 minutes of getting your teeth drilled. Just hold on. Here's the tissue. Put it in your hand and just kind of squeeze for 2 hours as you look up at the screen and feel like you're getting bombed by the Red Baron. But not this. Not that feeling. So, great movie. And I guess for Greta Gerwig's opening act, it's a pretty good one. Seems like she's getting a lot of Oscar buzz. When I was doing some research on this movie before I perhaps foolishly turned on my phone here to record this episode, seems like she's getting a lot of attention, and I think it's well deserved. Good for her. Okay, that's it for me. You can follow me on iTunes, Troy Meets World, the podcast. If you're listening to this, you can join me on YouTube. So let me flip it. Let me talk to the listeners now, and you can go to youtube.com/Chavezkian. It's Chavez, Chen. I know I gotta change the name so it's a little bit more reminiscent of what's actually happening. But you can also follow me at Real Troy Meets World, Instagram, Twitter, and Troy Meets _ World on Twitter. I fucked that all up. You can go to TroyMeetsWorld.com and find all the links. How about that? Let me just mention one thing. I do run an arts organization called Art House 43. We're trying to raise money for a project called State of the Arts. It'll be an audio documentary that looks at the state of the art scene in different cities. Where the first up is a city in Michigan called Battle Creek, because we got a grant from the Battle Creek Community Foundation. Thank you. And it's a matching grant, so we're trying to raise the matching part of that grant. We have to come up with a certain percentage of the grant they gave us to contribute ourselves. So we're trying to raise that. So GoFundMe.com/StateOfTheArts if you're interested in supporting. All right, this has been super fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. I see that I have 1 like already. Yay to you. Thank you, whoever you are. You're the best. I hope you have the merriest Christmas. I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking to the person who liked this. I hope you have the merriest of Christmases or holidays or Hanukkahs or Kwanzas, whatever you want. And to the rest of the world, I hope you have a great holiday as well. But I'll see you before then. It's only December 14th, and I'm sure I'll be back ranting and opining like a madman. Until next time, my friends.